Okay, today we're doing 10-9, choosing linear, quadratic, or exponential models. So remember, you can always just graph the points to figure out what they are, but we're going to show you some shortcuts here in a minute. Okay, so remember, if it looks like this first one, this parabola, is quadratic. And remember, if it's just a straight line, then it's linear. And this one is exponential. Remember, exponential, if you've heard someone say they did something exponentially, or it went up exponentially or down exponentially, that means it kind of starts off slow, but then it gets really steep really quickly. Okay, so let's do a few, sorry. Okay, so this one is, sorry, I had to redo this video, so that's why the graphs look a little funny here. Okay, so on this first one, so you can just plot these points. This is just a coordinate right here, -2. You can plot these and see what it looks like. Okay, or you look at your y's to see, because your x's all are going to be the same. They're all going up 1. Okay, and our y's we need to figure out. How do I get from -2 to 2? Okay, well, I add 4, or I multiply by -1. So then you go to the next thing. Well, how do I get from 2 to 6? Well, 2 to 6 we add 4, 6 to 10 we add 4. So we know that we're adding 4 every time. Okay, so when we add 4, when it's add or subtract, remember that's an arithmetic sequence. That was from a few sections ago. Okay, and if we're adding or subtracting and they're the same, that is going to be a linear function or linear equation. And that's all you're doing in this section, is coming up with, is it linear? I'm just going to have you identify, is it linear, quadratic, or exponential? Okay, and if you can't remember these, then you can always just graph it as well. Okay, I'm just going to do one example of each one. Okay, and this was supposed to be +1/9. I accidentally put -1/9. Okay, so again, these were just adding 1. Okay, but over here, now sometimes if there's fractions, if it's easier, you can go to the next ones and see, like, how do I get from 1 to 3? Well, I either add 2 or multiply by 3. So what works with the next one? Well, we multiply by 3. All right, so we multiply by 3, multiply by 3. If you go back up here, 1/9 times 3 is 1/3, 1/3 times 3 is 1. Okay, so if we multiply or divide, that's a geometric sequence. Okay, and so if we multiply or divide by the same thing over here, then that is going to be an exponential function. I have to look at my notes too here. An exponential function. And these are just things you're going to have to write down and try to remember. If you multiply, again, you could graph it and see. Okay, now the last one here, this one's a little trickier. So again, on the x, we're adding by 1. Okay, but here, to get from 16 to 2, we either subtract 14, or we multiply by 1/8. Okay, well, if you keep going, to get from 2 to -2, you don't subtract 14 or multiply by 1/8. Okay, so always go with the adding. It's okay if they're different. So we're going to subtract 14. Always go when they're different, go with the adding and subtracting. Okay, to get from 2 to -2, that's -4. And to get from -2 to 4 is +6. And to get from 4 to 20 is +16, and to get from 20 to 46 is a +26. Okay, so these are all different, all right, but that's okay. If they're different, don't do multiplying, do adding and subtracting. But if you do it again, so from -14 to 4, you add 10. To get from -4 to 6, you add 10. To get from 6 to 16, you add 10. And 16 to 26, you add 10. So if the second group is the same, okay, then it's going to be quadratic. So all of your problems should be one or the other. Okay, so you know right away if you can't figure out if this first one is not all the same, then the second one is, then it's quadratic. Okay, and on these you're just adding and subtracting. Okay, that's it.